more I've gotten to know him, I'm like, he's just a wonderfully awkward cat of a human being.
Yes,
So I'm
awkward being the
I love him.
keyword.
He never talks. You have there's nothing. There's just silence, and you can do whatever you want pretty much because there's no reaction. So I saw Pati Patni Aur Wo, and I watched it. Pretty certain, and I should admit that she would be really bad in it.
There is a slight prejudice which happens towards Nepo kids, if one wants to sort of like call them that, because there's also, oh, they've got it so easy. One of the biggest readers in the industry is actually Sonam Kapoor.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people in the West would be like, what, Sonam reads? Because the impression that one has is the fact that, oh, there's...
She's just into fashion.
Yeah, she's into fashionista and that kind of stuff.
Choose to see the best in people. I'm like, they'll keep my secret, but, you know, not happen too many times.
My films didn't work. I didn't work too well as an actor, but I still wanted to be part of making films.
That one person on Instagram said I suck, and they are right, I actually suck. So, you know, sometimes it's like, it's strange how social media can just stay in your memory.
Hello everyone, welcome to Shosha. I am Titash Chaudhary in conversation with Vikramaditya, Motwane, Ananya Panday and Nikhil Dwivedi. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well.
Good. Terrific.
Terrible.
Sorry for that. You know, Ananya, the last time I spoke to you, which was, I think, less than a year back, you said that I was shocked when, you know, I came to know that he's reached out to me for a film. And has that sunk in yet, or are you still in that zone?
I'm still shocked.
You're still shocked?
No, so when I'm like reading directed by Vikramaditya Motwane, I'm like, how is this real and happening? But I think the more I've gotten to know him, I'm like, he's just a wonderfully awkward cat of a human being.
Yes,
So I'm
awkward being the
I love him.
keyword.
Yeah.
Amid all this awkwardness, how easy or difficult was it to break ice?
I think what happens is that because I don't say very much, people just try harder to understand me, and I think that's where things...
Yeah.
I'm looking at these guys.
Basically left to us
what
to
did he say?
understand
Kya bol kya raha hai ye?
Yeah, which is now I know his expressions. Like I know what, like this means he's thinking, don't bother him. Means it's fine. Like he would not say like, okay, done. He would just come and be like, and like, I'm like, yeah, done. No, we are doing one more.
But in the beginning, how did you really understand whether he was happy with your take or not?
I'm still trying to figure it out.
But that's the whole point. As a director, you should not tell people you're happy with the take. It's like moving on. They're like, so then they try better every time.
Yeah. It was a constant like, is he happy?
Never
Is he not?
make them comfortable.
That's the point.
Yeah, I was constantly on my toes. Until the last day, he gave me a big hug and he's like, you were good. I was like, now?
After so many days?
Yeah.
Great. But tell me, so, you know, it's an interesting collaboration with the three of you coming together. One wouldn't really expect to see this kind of a combination because I think all of you come from different schools of cinema. How did this come together? Please tell me, all of you.
What's my school of cinema?
Fun. No, not to
What's
say
mine?
yours is...
I think I would be fun.
Vikram is the most fun that you can work with.
There you go.
He never talks. You have... There's nothing. There's just silence, and you can do whatever you want pretty much because there's no reaction. So
No, I'm just saying how, like, who approached who first?
I approached Ananya first, and then we approached Nikhil, and
Yeah.
But I was already flirting with Vikram to do a film,
that's also true.
which is another one.
So the
we
initial
kind of-
approach happened.
Everyone
first.
knows everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody approached
And
everybody.
and Ananya is literally, I have seen her since years, and
Okay,
so
okay.
yeah.
Don't betray the age right now. I've seen her go
Yeah.
But it's the artist in her that really got me pay attention to her, and that's true. I mean, some of her work. I saw Pati Patni Aur Wo, and I watched it. Pretty certain, and I should admit that she would be really bad in it.
Terrible.
And she was amazing. And I said, this is an actor. Well, what was I thinking? And then the next one, and then the next one, and I was convinced she's going to go places. And I wanted to work with her.
Wow. Do you add something?
Yeah, I mean, you have these, you sometimes, you have these prejudices and you have these notions sometimes, and it's a lesson also for me that we must always react to somebody's work.
No, that is true. There is that. I think there is a slight prejudice which happens towards nepo kids, if one wants to sort of like call them that, because there's also they've got it so easy, and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's always, and it doesn't matter who you are. At the end of the day, if you're not good at your work, if you're not talented, if you're not going to work hard, if you're not going to show that on screen, it doesn't matter who
Absolutely.
you are.
Absolutely.
That's the only thing that's going to make you succeed. And Ananya's been doing that on the back of her own strength. I think that's
Yeah. I mean, this whole debate anyway is so irrelevant and actually it doesn't even apply. I'll give you I'll take this occasion to give you the example of one of the largest cases of nepotism. And imagine, that's Kishore Kumar. He wouldn't have been in the movie industry if his elder brother was already not in the industry and forcing him actually to become an actor.
Yeah.
And all he wanted to do was sing. And somebody saw him singing, like Kundan Lal Sehgal, and gave him a break. And rest is history. There are so many of them who have relatives and parents and friends in the industry, and they are not being able to find their foothold and those who do are only doing so because they are doing some good work and they're working hard at it. And people need to see through that and actually start to appreciate it.
Absolutely. No, I think since we are talking about, perception, I remember you once telling me that, Shakun Batra was pretty taken aback when he saw you reading a book on the sets of Gehraiyan because he thought, do you read? Ananya Panday reads. So, do you also think there's a certain myth surrounding Ananya Panday, a misconception that people have in their heads?
It's a generalism that people just make generally with actors. One of the, I mean, like you're saying, Ananya reading, one of the biggest readers in the industry is actually Sonam Kapoor.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people in the back would be like, what, Sonam reads? Because the impression that one has is the fact that,
she's just into fashion.
Yeah, she's into fashionista and that kind of stuff. And that's it. We have to look beyond, I think, preconceived.
We do that about everybody, I think.
We do.
Sure.
It's more so with actors.
Yeah.
And
Like the preconceived notion that I don't have fun.
Yeah.
I mean, when I met Shakun for the first time, I thought he was like this world cinema lover. I watched like 2-3 Polish films before I met him. And then he's like, oh, I'm Delhi se hu. And I was like, huh? And then we start talking about
He's
some
Pappu.
I know. So then we start talking about Jane tu ya Jane na. So even I had that perception of Shakun actually. So.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I've seen the trailer, It is very, very interesting, what she does, erasing this person's existence through AI. I think it's very interesting. I wish we could do that with a lot of people. But so the idea of it is that, how much sharing is too much sharing on social media. Is that something you still grapple with?
Yeah, because I'm an oversharer in life in general. So because if anyone asks me anything, I choose to see the best in people. I'm like, they'll keep my secret, but not happen too many times. So I think I'm also monitoring that a little bit. Because sometimes, what happens, it's with Nella also in the film, sometimes in the heat of the moment, you're feeling something and you react very fast. But actually, if you look back after a few hours, you're not that angry about something. But by then, like, millions of people have seen something already. So I think the thing with social media is to not react too quickly. Yeah, that's something that I'm learning. You don't have to put out what you're feeling at every single moment. Not everything is permanent. But it becomes permanent on social media.
Yeah, but does it also stem from the fact, Ananya, that that if I share this can be blown out of proportion? Or make headlines not in the right way. Is that something you think about?
I feel like if I try to control that too much, it's not in my hands. I could mean something with the best of intentions and it's still blown out of proportion. So I don't want to think too much of the repercussions of something because it can happen anyway. Even if you try to stop something or you do something in the most like logical way, they'll still find something or the other to say. So I think it's best not to think of that.
Yeah, right. So, when I watched the trailer, now see this, I don't think this comparison is even valid, but then this just came to my mind. Eternal Sunshine
of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, but of course, see, here the eraser, I think, is more tangible. There, it's a memory eraser that happens. Did that film ever come to your mind while you were working on this one? Were you influenced by that film? As a filmmaker in
I'm influenced by that film generally. It's just a wonderful film. And I think that there is something about the writing of that film which is just fantastic. And, everything and the performances, the writing, the directing, everything. It's a masterpiece of our modern times. Undoubtedly. But no, I mean, Control, we were like, okay, in today's day and age, and there's so much topicality when it comes to how much sharing is too much sharing, how much of the dopamine hit of likes and favorites is enough? How much is like, what do you end up doing? How much can you do in your life for those? So all those questions when you're sort of like looking, look, the doomsday scenario is the way, and it's not impossible to sort of like believe this, but the fact that I have a feeling that give it 10, 15, 20 years time, we're going to start looking at social media as the way people looked at smoking, for example. You know, that you look at it right now, is the fact that there's a lot that's okay with it, but there's also a lot that a harm that it does.
I agree.
Generally, to a lot of people, to younger minds, to teenagers, and to normal adult people. Like at some point in time, like if your entire life is going to be based on the fact of like your validation comes from outside and not from inside, those are all questions that need to be asked. And there's a lot of questions. So I think control in that sense comes from a lot of these questions that we are generally asking around, you know, and about influencing or about the internet or about your own memories on the internet, your own sort of what you put out there on the internet, how much of it do you want to control, how much of it are you actually in control of. So I think a lot of these things came together in the film. And the moment we kind of wrote it, we're like, oh, they are going to ask us about Eternal Sunshine. We're like, yeah, it's fine. It's a part of that. There's also her in the sense that there is a...
Yeah.
So
I thought more
Her. Yeah.
So it's a...
Well, I'll tell you, it's not a film like any other.
Yeah. First of its kind.
Really, it's very different, very innovative in that sense, and it's very today. You know, we get all these logarithms and suggestions from Google and from. Can we take names? It's okay. And you know, you have this feeling that somebody is lurking around, listening to our conversations. How did they know? How did the suggestion just come? Right, we haven't even, and it's very real and it's creepy.
Yeah.
It's eerie. It'll creep you out, the film.
You know, as a producer, do you have this urge to cast yourself in a film?
No, in fact, I have a
Something
rule
so novel.
that I will never ever cast myself or act in anything that I produce, even if it's a 5-minute part.
Why so?
Firstly, you don't want to put that pressure on the director. That you know what, this is going to be the condition. They should be free to make the film the way they want to. The only pressure I want to give them is about money. So, and neither should that pressure be given to the writers or any creative people. So no, not at all. I'm doing this. I love cinema. I love films. I think one of the reasons why I wanted to be an actor was because I just love the big screen. When I was a child, I just wanted to be a part of it. My films didn't work. I didn't work too well as an actor, but I still wanted to be part of making films, and that journey is continuing. I'm happy. Also, I only want to work with sellable actors. So yeah, I'll put my money on actors who can sell tickets. I'm very clear about
so
that.
subtly put in.
Ananya, you're
I'll give that stress to other producers.
Did he give that money pressure, put that money pressure on you?
Oh, yeah, like he said.
Not at all.
I just love that sellable actors. It's such a subtle, self-deprecating line.
You know, you're very open about the fact that you constantly need validation from your directors, especially, you know, in terms of whether a shot is fine, whether you need to redo it, keep redoing it.
My imposter syndrome comes from just in general when someone says my name. Sometimes, especially in like interviews and stuff, I don't feel like my name is my name. You know, someone's like, oh, we're in conversation with Ananya Panday. It suddenly makes me feel like not myself. It makes me feel like someone else. It makes me feel like, oh, suddenly I have to be on and I have to be something else. So that's when I get imposter syndrome. When I see myself on a billboard sometimes, I don't feel like it's myself. If I'm watching a movie also now, I've reached that point where I watch it as an audience and I forget that it's me in it. So I guess that's the imposter syndrome part of it. That's right, no? Imposter syndrome. And the validation thing is always there. That's because I think I'm also hard on myself. Sometimes even if a director okays a shot, I'm never happy with it. I'm always like, but I could have done this better. If it was in my hands, I would just reshoot everything all the time. Because I'm like, I can always do better, I feel.
But the general social media noise that's there, do you think that sometimes also adds to this imposter thing?
it adds, it depends on the day, you know. Sometimes if I'm reading something, I'm not affected by it. And then sometimes I'll read something really small. And if I'm anyway having a bad day on set, if like a shot is not okay, I'm like, that one person on Instagram said I suck and they are right, I actually suck. So, you know, sometimes it's like, it's strange how social media can just stay in your memory and, you know, impact you in bad ways. And that's how you said about smoking. It's like a long-term impact that it has on you.
But then does the success of, let's say, a Kho Gaye Hum Kahan or a Be really reinstill your own confidence in yourself?
More than myself, I think it makes me feel good about the choices that I'm making. Because, you know, people were like, oh, why are you doing a show so early on? Don't do too many OTT things. So then even I start thinking like, okay, you know, what if people don't watch it? But then it makes me feel good that, okay, you know, I'm on the right path and I'm working with good people and eventually it'll pay off, you know. It doesn't matter which direction it goes in. It'll pay off eventually.
Okay, right. So since, you know, we are talking about AI also in the trailer, you know, a recent conversation, not very recent though, has gained ground is about how AI can really interfere with the process of, you know, filmmaking, writing, creating something. We saw the SAG after, you know, strikes happening in the USA. Do you see that trickling down to India? Affecting work?
It will. You're already seeing it. You're already seeing people use ChatGPT to send you messages. I mean, it's already happening in a sense where the use of AI is already. If it's going to start becoming part of your daily habit, where you start using it, and bit by bit it'll start. You'll have AI help you respond to emails and send messages and write up things that you want, and that is so. It's really a question of like what is acceptable anymore. From a film industry perspective, yes, there has been a lot of fight back. Not here so much. It has happened internationally, whether the WGA strikes or the SAG strikes, where the idea is that you want there has to be some more limitations to how much AI. Like you know, a lot of the places were like, oh, we will pay you a lot of money, shoot you once, capture you, and then we can use your likeness on anything we want after that. And that's what the actors actually, the SAG climbed down and said, no, you can't do that. And writers have also got a lot of...
even actors like, you know...
True, and writers have sort of like done it. There's a lot of, there are some sort of like barriers towards how much AI can and can't be used. The problem here is that we have no laws. We have no data protection laws. So, you know, the question of, if the people in control want to be able to use AI, at the end of the day, they will end up using it and they will sort of like bring it in whichever way they can. So it's up to us to collectively, I think, really, really think about how we want to have, I'm not saying that all AI is bad, but I am saying that, you know, overuse of AI is, or the over adoption of AI in a very quick way without actually thinking of the repercussions of it can potentially be quite disastrous. In all across the industry, whether it's in production design, whether it's in acting, whether it's in writing, whether it's in, you know, everything. You're talking about potentially lots of jobs lost, potentially things happening. So I just think one needs to just look at how one is adopting it and be sensible about that.
Yeah.
There has always been some resistance. There have been strikes 100 years ago in the factories that machines are going to replace us. It's not possible.
Yeah.
But I think we found our way around it. We are going to find our way around it. AI too.
Right. You want to add something?
Yeah, I agree with the point about the missing the human touch. You know, you it's not a human at the end of the day. But honestly, you don't know what drives people to do what. You know, if you watch the movie Her also, his loneliness made him fall in love with something like that. So, you know, people are living all kinds of lives all over the world, and loneliness drives people to actually could be attracted also possibly to an AI, you know. So yeah, it's just the world is constantly changing. It is very scary even as an actor to feel like you're almost signing your life off. You don't know where your face is going to be used. As a girl, it's very scary because already it's happening.
Our faces are created on magazine covers and stuff
but even
like that.
as a girl, our faces are put on to god-awful things, honestly. So it is a very scary thing and there has to be some regulation, but I really don't know how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen.
You know, on a slightly different note, I was watching an interview of Imtiaz Ali recently where he said that you were actually present in the room when he narrated the script to Abhay Deol for
for the first time,
For the first time. And that you had also, you stayed with his parents in Jamshedpur to do the prep work for Udaan, just to, you know, feel and the vibe of the city. It's great to see that kind of a friendship, you know, the one that you also have with, let's say, Mr. Anurag Kashyap. Even among filmmakers, and from this batch of filmmakers, I'm saying, how important do you think is to have this sense of brotherhood, friendship, security?
It's very, very important. It's the most important thing actually, because you need to. What happens is that filmmaking can be a very, very lonely process because
Yeah.
you're kind of like writing and everything is in your head. So you need to be able to have people who you can rely on, who you can, like have bounce ideas off and tell you right from wrong in the most critical and the most honest way. And I think that's what the Brotherhood in that sort of sense ends up doing, whether it's Imtiaz and me and Anurag, or it's even, I think all directors and all filmmakers of a certain generation are all friends. We're all friends. We're all in touch. If anybody needs any help, there's always a kind of, phone call. So like in Imtiaz's case, like I wrote Udaan to be based in Delhi. I actually wrote it to be based off one of the satellite towns of Delhi, like Faridabad, Ghaziabad. That's where they live and they go into Delhi. He read the script as a feedback thing. And he's like, look, I'm reading a script. All I can see is Jamshedpur. Just literally go to Jamshedpur and go and stay with my parents. Go stay in the house, go see the place. And he was absolutely right. And that's how it kind of works. He'll send me a script to read for some feedback. Anurag will say, yeah, go edit this one scene of mine. I will send him things saying, you go write that one
nice
scene of
to
mine.
hear.
It's
Yeah.
nice.
Oh
It's
yeah,
nice
there's
to
too
do.
much
amazing.
brotherhood.
There's a
In
lot.
fact, if I have
Yeah.
some creative argument with Vikramaditya Motwane, I'll receive a call from Anurag.
Really?
Yeah, he starts chewing my head. No. I said, there's too much brotherhood going on.
Yeah.
But
that's
it's
a
good.
great thing.
On a serious thing, it's actually good. They're
Yeah.
all there for each other.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. I think your next film is with Anurag.
Oh yeah, it is.
How similar or different are they as
Oh, they're
filmmakers?
poles apart. Their principles and values are same.
Huh.
But as people and as filmmakers, there is
They're so
absolutely no.
Yeah.
They're just two different people.
Yeah.
But they're great friends, very close
Yes.
friends.
Maybe
I know.
that's what works though. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
opposites attract.
I've been at the receiving end of it, their friendship. So
We don't have time. We have to wrap this up. Ananya, I would want to, wrap it up with you. I think you have had the last few months, including December last year, was great for you professionally. I think somewhere the perception surrounding you as an actor has also changed. I remember you once telling me that, I try so hard for people to like me. I don't know why do they hate me.
So cute.
nobody hates you.
Oh my God. Go on Instagram.
Oh no, Instagram, everybody hates everybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
They're just sitting idle and they want to hate someone.
Yeah.
Is it still frustrating? Because you're like, I'm improving myself with every performance, every project. Why is the perception not changing? What is it?
No, I don't think. I think it's happening gradually, and that's a nice thing. Maybe like the AI thing, it's happening slowly, and it's not like suddenly one day everyone's changed. So that's why it's feeling also more real and more genuine. I think with the past few performances, I've felt a very lovely connection with the audience that's beyond just love. It's more conversations. It's about how people feel represented or people feel confident because of certain characters, or they feel like, oh, we want to be like her. I feel like that goes beyond even just praise. Then that's what I've always wanted to do, I've always wanted to do characters that leave a lasting impression for years to come, like how I look back and I see Kareena and Jab We Met or her as Pooh, and I'm like, I still think about it even 20 years later. I'm like, what lovely character. So I want something like that. That's not just instant. So I'm happy with the pace that it's going with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I recently saw this video.
What? I'm
No,
scared.
it was like, I think just the media focusing on
my
a
phone.
call that you
Yeah,
got and you
yeah.
did this. Do you think that's like, of course it's intrusive, but what are you supposed to make of it? Because you don't know where the cameras are placed, right?
I mean, honestly, I'm like, I've given up at this point. I've realized the more I try to like hide something or be sneaky, the more I get caught in
comes under
doing anything.
focus.
So I'm just like, whatever now. I don't care. I'm not hiding anything. I'm not trying to like hide anything.
That's a great attitude to have. On that note, thank you so much to all
Thank
of
you.
you. I also heard that you both are collaborating again on something
Guys, no
else.
one's
Hope
told
that
me
happens
these
soon.
things. Let's get into the casting conversations that you all are collaborating
I think
on.
before everything they go on Google and they see the
The recent news.
Yeah. Do our research. No. Okay. Thank you so much.
We
And
are if the
although-
monies work out. Like I said,
All
there's
the
too much
well-
pressure on money.
All the very best for CTRL.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
Good.